Thanks to Nigel for his wonderful speech, but also for hosting us this evening. Thank you so much all for being here. Members of Parliament, peers, artists, arts leaders, friends, supporters, journalists, donors, and everyone who cares about the future of cultural life in this country. It really does matter to see this room so full. And before I go any further, I do just want to say a quick thank you for the coverage this work has already received in the press and on broadcast today and last night. We're really grateful to those journalists who have taken these issues seriously and helped them bring them to public view. That matters because too much of what this report describes has been allowed to happen quietly or to be brushed off as just another arts row. So we're here, myself, Rosie Kay, and this is Denise Farmy in the red over here, to launch the new Boycott Crisis and the Art Beyond Boycott Toolkit. But really, we're here because something has gone badly wrong in the arts. I am an artist first. I did not set out to become a campaigner on this issue, and I'm not here because I enjoy public argument. I'm here because I care deeply about the arts. I've spent my life in them, and because I could see too many artists and organisations left alone to deal with fear, pressure and exclusion. The arts can survive criticism, but they cannot do their best work under intimidation. That, in many ways, is why freedom in the arts exists. Freedom in the arts was founded because too many people were being dropped, ghosted, quietly sidelined, or made to feel that because they had somehow become too difficult, too risky, too politically awkward to support. Artists were being left alone to make sense of that. Venues were trying to navigate it alone. Organisations were hoping if they just kept their heads down, the storm would pass them by. But the storm is not passing by. One of the most important things FITA has done is simply to recognise the issue, to say it clearly that this is happening and that the people experiencing it are not imagining it and they're not alone. That act of recognition matters more than people sometimes realise. Because once fear becomes normal, people begin to adapt to it. They lower their expectations, they say less, they risk less, they quietly edit themselves. Institutions start to make decisions not because something has happened, but because they are frightened of what might happen. A possible backlash becomes enough. A rumour becomes enough. A handful of emails become enough. And once fear enters the room changes. That is one of the central things that this report identifies. What the new boycott crisis shows is that we're often treated as isolated incidents, but they're actually part of a much broader pattern. Political pressure, cancellation, professional exclusion, harassment, compelled positioning, and a growing atmosphere of anxiety in which people feel they must constantly calculate risk before they speak, programme, publish, perform, or even associate. Artists experience that in lost work, silence, damaged relationships, and self-censorship. Venues experience it in fear, confusion, and decision-making shaped by public panic rather than principle. Agents and managers experience it by becoming the people who have to advise artists to stay quiet, pull back, or disappear for a while. And audiences experience it too, whether they know it or not, because they end up with a thinner, narrower, and more frightened culture. Part of what we've also had to do with this new report is name clearly the extent to which anti-Semitism has become embedded, denied, or minimised within parts of the arts sector. Many people have been reluctant to face this honestly, but the report is very clear. Jewish artists and Jewish cultural life have become especially vulnerable to exclusion, scrutiny, and silence. And what's so disturbing is that this can happen in very quiet ways, not always through a dramatic public row, more often through the slow withdrawal of support, the coded language of sensitivity, that feeling that Jewish identity itself is somehow too contentious, too political, too difficult to deal with. This is not a fair or serious way to deal with the issues. People become nervous, opportunities dry up, invitations disappear, institutions equivocate. So it's one of the reasons freedom in the arts had to exist. We exist to support artists and organisations under pressure. We exist to document what is happening properly. We exist to bring people together who otherwise might remain isolated. And we exist to offer practical help, not just commentary. Because we're not simply describing the problem, we are trying to build ways through it. So we've also launching tonight the Art Beyond Boycott Toolkit. And it's there because people need guidance, they need clarity, they need somewhere to turn when the emails start, when the pressure builds, when internal panic sets in, when boards get frightened, when staff are divided, when legal questions arise, and when institutions suddenly find themselves without the language or confidence to hold the line. The toolkit's intended as a practical response, calm, lawful, proportionate, usable. Because too many people in the sector have been trying to navigate all of this without a map. And I want to say very clearly that this work has only been possible because people trusted us. Artists trusted us. Arts leaders trusted us. People told us things that they'd not been able to say anywhere else. They described experiences that were painful, humiliating, and professionally risky to talk about. That trust is an enormous responsibility, and I hope tonight honours it. I want to say how fortunate tonight we are with the people speaking with Freedom in the Arts. Josh Breslau, Mark Tuchen, and Roisin Murphy are not abstract voices or professional campaigners. They are the real deal. Artists and arts leaders who know these pressures from the inside and who care deeply about protecting the conditions in which real cultural life can flourish. Also, thanks to Neil Blair, who's going to say a thank you at the end. I want to just say a few quick thank yous. Thank you to the funders, supporters, and the friends who believed in this. Thank you to the artists, the people who work in the arts who came forward and talked to me. Thank you, Professor Jo Phoenix, co-author, for her rigour, intelligence, and clarity. And above all, thank you to my co-director, Denise Farmy, whose courage, steadiness, and fierce commitment have been central to everything FITA has built. We are making a real difference, but the scale of the challenge is greater than any one report or any one toolkit or any one event. If we want a freer, braver, and more open arts culture, this work needs wider backing from allies, from institutions, from policymakers, from philanthropists, from everyone who understands that artistic freedom is not a side issue. It's the conditions of a healthy and confident society. So tonight matters because it names something real. It matters because it offers support where there has been too often silence. And it matters because it says very plainly the art should be places of freedom, curiosity, and risk, not fear. This report gives shape to what's happening across the sector, but it's equally important to hear what this looks like in lived experience. So I'm now delighted to introduce Josh Breslau from Oi Vavoy, whose experiences can bring home just how real and consequential these pressures can be.